Looks like there's trouble in paradise.
There's what? Well now, what have we here?
Stupid.
In 2002, Walt Disney Pictures released Lilo and Stitch. Set in the beautiful, sunny, and illegally annexed nation of Hawaii, the movie told the story of a young girl called Lilo and her older sister Nani struggling to keep their family together, all the while being visited by an out-of-control experimental alien life form. It is a gorgeously animated film with a beautiful message at its heart, and I'm honestly surprised that it took me until this year to actually sit down and watch it for the first time. Although I never saw the film, I do vaguely recall watching a Lilo and Stitch TV series when I was younger. Not that I really remember much. Wasn't there like a yellow Stitch who did nothing but make sandwiches? Obligatory big mood. But we're not here to talk about the original film, or the TV series, or the absolute train wreck that was Freddy vs. Stitch. No, today we're here to take a look at a little PlayStation game known only as Lilo and Stitch.
Trouble in paradise!
Made to coincide with the release of the film, the title was developed by Blitz Games, whose last product before going defunct in 2013 was something called Shrek Alarm.
Hey, wake up!
Start your day the Shrek way with DreamWorks Shrek Alarm.
So, you know, a lot of confidence going into this one. The game generally received mixed to negative reviews upon its release, and I can't really tell you much more than that, as every time I try to find a full review of the game, I either get taken to a 404 page or my computer thinks it's under a cyber attack by the People's Republic of China! So, to help celebrate the warm, sunny summer season... Okay, look, it was the end of July when I actually started writing this video. You can't just... So, to commemorate the end of the summer season, I figured it'd be pretty groovy if we said... Aloha to this game. Although technically Aloha can also mean goodbye as well as hello, it's sort of a... You see it... Well, look, you see, in this context, the game opens up with Lilo welcoming you into her bedroom as Elvis's hound dog plays in the background. Gotta say, this is probably the only game I've ever played with a glitchy screen option built into the main menu. And you know, a part of me wants to call that choice very avant-garde. But the other part of me says that I don't know what that word means. We then get a few FMV cutscenes outlining the basic plot of the film's first act. Stitch crashes on Earth, emerges from his ship. He's hit by a lorry and then gets himself adopted by Lilo after pretending to be a dog. We then see Lilo absolutely bolt it down her front stairs before calling over Stitch and... I don't know, her sister says something and walks away with her giant cheese feet. I wasn't really paying attention. There are 2 playable characters available in Lilo and Stitch.
Trouble in paradise!
They are, as you'd expect, the title characters of Lilo and Stitch, who you alternate between every stage. In level 1, we play as Lilo, and it's not but a few seconds in that we learn our first attack, which is... voodoo? Actually, to be fair, the idea of Lilo using voodoo is something that's taken straight from the movie itself. Although in the film, it's little more than a throwaway gag to show how weird she is. So I don't know where the developers got the idea that it means Lilo has magic fucking powers and can kill things with whatever the hell this is, but there we go. Anyway, after learning voodoo, we move on to the Bumbash? That's not a joke, by the way. This isn't one of my clever gags where I edit in rude things disguised as real in-game text. This is honest to goodness in the actual game itself. It's even in the manual. Okay, I've only been playing for a few minutes now, and I gotta say, this camera is pretty terrible. It normally does an okay job following your movement and keeping you centered on the screen, but the minute you turn around, it snaps backwards so suddenly I'm worried if the cameraman has whiplash. The game also generally controls really badly as well. Your movement is imprecise and stiff, your turning is rigid and often unresponsive, and jumping frankly feels like a gamble every single time. Trying to land on nearby platforms either leaves you jumping over them or just sliding off the side. It's just bad. And while we're on the subject of things that are bad, Lilo's voodoo attack is almost entirely useless. Half the time it simply does not work, and it feels like luck if the enemy's hitbox actually makes contact with your whatever the hell this is. I honestly thought that some enemies were just straight up immune to it until I realized that, oh no, it's just shit. Not that the Bum Bash fares any better. It's slightly more reliable, but can easily send you over an enemy or even just straight into a fucking pit if you're not careful. Stitch, however, does get a slightly different moveset to Lilo. The flying anus drop is of course still present, but instead of voodoo, he spits on people, which is nice. He also has a spin attack, which so far is the only attack in this game that doesn't completely suck. Throughout each level, you'll collect these pickups, and if you collect all 100 from within a single stage, you're rewarded with an extra life. For Lilo, these items change from level to level, and can be anything from flowers, to stars, to pineapples, whereas with Stitch, they're always cups of coffee. However, one difference is that when playing as Stitch, you have a meter on the side of the screen which goes up slightly whenever you get one of these items. When it fills up completely, you can hit triangle and perform Stitch's roll attack. And if you thought the game controlled bad before,
You ain't seen nothing yet.
you're technically invulnerable during this mode, but honestly the cons far outweigh the pros in my opinion. It's impossible to stop, damn near impossible to control, it destroys everything you touch which can screw you out of certain collectibles. Oh, and it sounds like this. Ah yes, the sweet symphony of stop! So what exactly is the objective of Lilo and Stitch?
Trouble in paradise!
Well, you see, at first I thought it was simply to get to the end of the level. You know, standard platformer affair. But as it turns out, when I wasn't paying attention, I was told that I needed to collect a total of 16 photographs from all the levels. Each level has 4 of these main collectible items hidden throughout. They start off as photographs, but later change to different things as the game progresses. These items aren't like the optional pickups, they're completely mandatory, and you have to collect all 16 or you can't advance in the game at all. If you miss even one, you have to go back to that level and try to get it again. Now in between the stages are these clearings where you can save the game at the mailbox or enter the different levels through any of the available pathways. It's in these sections that we encounter one of my least favourite elements of this game, and that is tedious boss fights. You see, in order to actually unblock the path to a new level, you first have to defeat these, I'm gonna call them Jeffs. These Jeffs start out as nothing more than harmless looking boulders, but when you approach them, they magically transform into mildly harmful looking boulders. These things really aren't that much of a challenge, and the novelty of seeing Lilo get hit in the face with a flaming boulder wears off pretty quickly. So what you're left with is a tedious slog in where you dodge their easily avoidable projectiles, wait for them to attack the area in front of themselves, and then hit their glowing weak spot on their backs as they turn around. And as the game progresses, these bosses don't actually get any harder, their health bars simply increase, making each boss fight simply take longer and drive you further into a tedium-induced state of madness and rage. Another thing that makes this game so damn annoying to me is the fact that if you die in a stage, none of the destructible elements in a level or any of the pickups respawn, meaning that if you fuck up and make it impossible to get a certain collectible, respawning won't help you. You either have to get a game over, manually restart the stage, or just give up entirely and throw the fucking game in the bin.
Oh, hang on. What the hell is this doing in here?
Oh, but don't worry, every enemy will still respawn. The health items don't, but have no fear because the vaguely racist Tiki Mask demons will still be there to fuck you over when you get back. Wait, what the fuck? Why are there racist Tiki Mask demons? I don't remember those from the film. Yeah, the enemies in this game are kind of weird. There's your standard cliche action game gubbins, scorpions, rats, giant bugs, you know the deal. Big lizards? Okay, sure, in the jungle I could believe that. But what about the giant carnivorous plants? These are level 1 enemies, by the way, so they can't be part of the aliens that invade in the latter half of the game. These are apparently just indigenous to Hawaii. Hashtag Flora Facts. Okay, stop the presses, this review is over, because I think I just found my favourite enemy in any game ever. It's just this ordinary looking middle-aged woman trying to sweep the street who clearly has no time for Stitch's bullshit. She won't go after you and you can't kill her, but if you get too close she'll start swinging her broom at you like it's no one's business. As the game goes on, the enemies frankly get weirder. There's the aforementioned tiki head demons, alien soldiers, bouncy robot boys, whatever this thing is. Wait, no, I take back what I just said. This guy is my favorite enemy. He's just a fat sunburnt dude getting in your way and lazily kicking at you for some reason. Seriously, why is the dude trying to stop Lilo? The woman sweeping the street? I can at least see why she'd swat at Stitch. He looks like if someone fed their pet rabbit on a diet of cadmium and Smurfs. But Lilo is just a little girl. This dude has no idea what she's up to and has no reason to be impeding her progress. He's just some burnt asshole who wants to stop her but doesn't want to use too much energy doing so. He's like a fat orange Cassidy. And that is the 5th wrestling reference in this video, and an AEW one at that. I'm going for the record. Aside from these camera behind you style levels, Lilo and Stitch also features some side-scrolling stages. These stages are usually a lot more fun in my opinion, have better level designs, and even generally look better. Except for this moving platform, which I'm pretty sure is just the Omega stage form of the eggplant emoji. But aside from that, these levels are, in all honesty, pretty okay. I guess removing one of the dimensions reduced how shit the controls were. Another level style the game has that is sadly not as good are the stages where you're running away from something chasing you. First of all, you can't see what's coming up, so you have no idea if there's a pit up ahead, an item you want, or an explosive barrel. Secondly, ow, my thumb, ow, oh god, my poor thumb, why oh why do I feel such unimaginable pain? Oh god, please make it stop. So yeah, these stages are pretty bad for the old thumbs, and I know what you're gonna say. Maybe they wouldn't have been so bad had I just used a controller with an analog stick. Well, maybe your parents wouldn't have gotten a divorce if you'd have just been a better child. You ever think about that, you little shit? The most egregious of these levels is the one where you play as Stitch being chased by Jumba and Pleakley. All of the aforementioned problems with these stages apply, but now you have to add being shot at to the mix, and let me tell you, it doesn't taste very good. I swear, Jumba must be using some kind of an aimbot because no matter how much I dodge, weave, and jump, he always manages to get me. Add on top of that the fact that health items don't respawn, and you have what is probably the worst level in the entire game. You know, the more I play this game, the more it starts to remind me of a different game I've played. I don't know what it is, there's just some elements that seem familiar to me. It's set in a tropical jungle environment, it has levels that follow behind you, some levels where you're running away from giant monsters, and even the occasional side-scrolling section. There's red wooden containers that count down and explode when you touch them, giant carnivorous plant enemies, floating tiki heads with magic powers, a furry protagonist that does a spin attack? Wait a minute. Oh my god. This is Spyro the Dragon! Yes, it's very clear that this game took some, let's say, inspiration from Crash Bandicoot. I mean, truthfully, I can't say I blame them. Crash was an extremely popular franchise at the time, and honestly, if you charged me with adapting Lilo and Stitch into a video game, I'd be pretty stumped and would probably just suggest ripping something off as well. The final level of the game sees Stitch being chased by Gantu, the backup final boss of the movie. It's basically the Jumba chase level again, only now halfway through, the level does a switch and is like a normal stage. How utterly thrilling. Something that makes this particular level much more annoying than it needs to be is that when you first start playing, Gantu's ship takes a few seconds to ready up, giving you a little bit of a head start before he begins shooting. But if you die and respawn, he's already in position and can basically shoot you immediately. Did they even test this shit? Oh, and of course, health items don't respawn, so good luck with this one. As I said, the perspective of the level switches about halfway through, but Gantu doesn't stop shooting. So now you've got to deal with platforming, alien soldiers, and an unseen enemy firing from off screen who, by the way, is annoyingly accurate. To be fair, the last section of this game doesn't really take long once you've memorized all the patterns. It's just a few short jumps over some baked beans before you land on the petrol tanker, and then the game just plays the end of the movie and rolls the credits. Hakuna Matata. Wait, that's the wrong one. So, that was Lilo and Stitch.
Trouble in paradise!
So, how did it hold up? Well, let's not beat around the bush here. This game sucks. From its terrible, barely responsive controls, its clearly untested and bland level designs, and the frankly lazy attempt at adapting a kid's film into a video game, I can't really see much point in playing this even if you are a big fan of Disney or retro games in general. It just doesn't really offer anything worth experiencing for anyone above the age of 5. Even the gallery for viewing your unlocked media isn't worth it because as cool as this kind of thing would normally be, Lilo completely fucking ruins it with her voice.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Wow, look at this.
And so that brings us to the end of this video, and boy howdy am I glad that's the last PS1 Disney game we'll ever have to play. I mean, it's not like they ever made more of them or anything. No. I said no. That's it, I'm moving house. Thanks for watching. Sorry for this one being a little bit late for a summer-themed video, but what with the move and all, it's been kind of hard to keep on top of work. Before we end things, I'd first like to thank my backers on Patreon. Aaron Loralian, Bree B, Feely Damon, Joshua Alexander, Kira Mitchell, Leah, and Liz Lilith. Thank you all so much for your continued support. It means the world to me. My question of the day is, who is your favourite member of the New Day? The answer is Big E. Do not tell me otherwise. Anyway, thank you once again for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to click like, leave a comment, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And don't forget you can follow me on Twitter @TheTransHeel and on Instagram @LilyMayRey. I've been MayRey, and I'll see you all next time.